Welcome to another episode of The Ingredient Guru. I'm so excited that you're here. Today, I have a very special guest because we are going to be talking about a therapeutic strategy that can be so helpful for so many people. Many of us are caught in this cycle of stress and anxiety and overwhelm, and it can feel really hard sometimes to find a way to get out of that. It turns out there is this really wonderful strategy called rapid eye technology that can help reprogram and allow you to reclaim your sense of calmness and peace. So today, I am delighted to be talking with my dear friend and rapid eye therapy expert, Paula Bronte, and she's going to help us understand exactly what this therapy is and then how we can utilize it in our everyday lives to reclaim that sense of peace that we are all looking for. Paula, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Mira. Thank you. It's so good to see you again. And I wish I had taken notes. That was a great introduction. I don't need to say anything else. It was so good. Yeah. And true. Very true.
Well, and I will share, I have done rapid eye therapy with you, and so the technology of it was really fascinating to learn about. And I guess my first question always is, how did you get into this? Because this is not something we really hear about.
Yeah. No, it really has not become as mainstream as I would have liked it to be. So I'm doing my part to make that happen because it's been around for at least 40 years, actually. And I was in the personal development field. I was coaching for Stephen Covey. I was selling his personal coaching. And so I was around people that did all kinds of out of the box stuff. And somebody mentioned rapid eye technology to me and they described it. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I had my sessions with someone called Carol Tuttle. Some of your viewers may know her. She used to be pretty big on the circuit. And anyway, I had my third or fourth session with Carol, and I just got a download. And it was a really clear message that this was one of those things I came to do. So I was in a six-figure job, right? And I was like, okay, I got this. I did the certification, right? It took a while to get my certification. And I was like, okay. And I just, every day I would just ask, okay, how is this going to work out? What's my next thing? And how will I best serve the light? Right? That was my main thing. How will I best serve the light? I was in the coaching division, but again, it was sales and I wasn't doing that one-on-one real personal work. And just out of the blue, my division got bought out by another corporation. And at that point, I had become a manager and they had to let go of one of the managers. So guess what? So I volunteered because I got a severance, collected my unemployment, and opened my practice. And people just flocked. I still have never done very much marketing at all. And that was in so it's been 24 years.
That's amazing. And, so I think one of the things that I find so interesting about it, like you said, it's word of mouth. I found out about rapid eye technology and about you from a friend and a colleague, and I have been so fascinated by how it works once I began to work with you. Can you share a little bit about how, like, the neurological patterns that we have contribute to stress and anxiety and how we can reprogram them using this technology?
Yes. So there's a couple of things. Actually, a rapid eye session involves about 36 different things, although it seems very simple and straightforward. The two components to that answer is, first of all, if you were to open up a skull, you'd see thousands, maybe many hundreds of, and each neural pathway holds its own information. So we've got a neural pathway for tying our shoes, right? It's automatic. You put your shoe on, you reach down, tie it. So we've got that for abuse, for poverty, financial lack, depression, abandonment, everything you can think of in the human condition. We've got a neural pathway for it. And so in childhood is when these neural pathways get really chiseled out, right? Because we are just fresh and new, right? And this brain doesn't really have a lot of grooves in it. So our parents, the school system, the church, TV, all creates these grooves, and they become our truth. These neural pathways are the things that control our reality pretty much. So what we do with rapid eye is actually through simply blinking will open those neural pathways, the part of the brain that stimulates the neural pathways, and we can get right in there and move that information off. It's in there in layers, right? And I have a script for every possible conceivable issue. And so as I do the verbal input, the brain says, oh, okay, I know which neural pathway we want to open now because I'm telling it with my words. And it opens and it moves through the eyes and actually moves through the whole body. So we're emptying the storage units, right? I call the neural pathway storage units. We got junk in the storage units, let's get it out. That's really the simple answer. And then once we empty the storage units, we put new information in so that you get to create new patterns, because really it's all about looking at your patterns, the habits. And so we create new patterns, new habits. The piece specifically about stress and anxiety does have a lot to do with that, because we have our fears, right? And our worries. We have, somebody's a perfectionist because when they were a kid, they had to be the best in the family. And that's going to create great stress, just for example. The other piece that really contributes to our stress is the left brain and right brain hemisphere activity, right? The left brain, which is fabulous. If we didn't have it, we couldn't conduct our lives. However, it gets to be dominant. It gets to be overactive. And then we start chewing on the details of everything. And we start creating these stories and this rabbit hole. And before you know it, we go from 0 to 90 about spilled milk, right? That's just what the left brain will do. If it's greedy and doesn't let the right brain have expression. So the left brain is about the detail and mental activity, and the right brain, that's where we really want to be happy. That will bring us our joy. The right brain sees the bigger picture, right? The right brain is going to sit back and say, okay, it's just spilt milk. It's okay. Everybody does that. Let's just clean it up. Nobody cares, right? And it really helps to create space between you and the issue. The left brain, you are the issue, right? You are the problem. You're in it. The right brain, you can witness it. Okay? And the right brain for me is more about spirit. Right? And so what we want to do is train the brain so that these two hemispheres are working together. There's a bridge between them called the corpus callosum. And we just get the synapses firing back and forth. So that left brain starts to share the information with the right, and the right brain starts to share information, and we come into balance, right? I've never experienced in all my years on this planet such an imbalance in humanity. Oh. So these hemispheres really help to create balance. And just think how the brain controls the whole body. So when those hemispheres come into balance, the body follows and things start to change. And really what we do with the left and right brain is give you energy management tools so that you can start to feel empowered, that you're not at the mercy, right, of the stress. You're not at the mercy of the anxiety. Yeah, we're not powerless.
I think one of the things that I like about it as well is it's something very simple that we can all do. The blinking and moving your eyes back and forth. So you don't need expensive equipment or anything else like that. And then it becomes a matter of learning, like working with someone to learn the scripts or the habits or what you do, because it is about reprogramming the brain. I think that's the part that a lot of people struggle with, because we get stuck in this cultural mindset that says, oh, you are the way you are, and that's it. You can't fix it. Can you address that?
Yeah, of course. The reprogramming is everything. There's many of you people may know Joe Dispenza, right? He's really big these days, and he's got a whole program called Rewired, right? Yeah. So it's really coming into consciousness now that we have control over the activity of our brain. And you're right, it's cultures, families say, okay, this is how you are. This is who you are. You're the overreactive, oversensitive one in the family. Or you're the smart one, right? You're the mental one, or you're the one that has to fix everything. And we get stuck in these identities, like they're archetypes or patterns, as you said. And we identify with them and we can begin to think that's who we are.
Mm.
And as we start reprogramming the activity of the brain, we start to see, no, wait a minute. That's who I've been taught to be. But who am I really? How do I really want to respond to the situation, as opposed to react to it from the old identity that I was just imprinted with in my storage unit. Storage units are full of all those things, that this is
Yeah.
who you are, as opposed to what your soul is really telling you.
And I love that you're talking about that, because I think that's true. Sometimes there's a lot of languaging and a lot of self-talk that comes from oh, she's the smart one. Oh, she's the pretty one. Oh, she's the this, she's the that, he's the that, he's the whatever. But for some reason, our human condition is we want to pigeonhole. And
Yeah,
if
it's true.
it's done to us, we begin, because we hear it so often, we think that is the reality, and it's not. No, go ahead.
You just did a great job of defining core belief. Because that's the
Mhm.
other thing we do with Rapid Eye. We identify the core belief. So core belief is something that we've heard over and over again that has emotion attached to it, that goes in as an absolute truth, right?
Mhm.
And so we would have a core belief on that. And the bottom line, when you peel away the onion of everybody, the bottom line core belief is I'm not good enough, right?
Mhm.
Some shape or form.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we identify those core beliefs and we start to empty the storage units of the information that supports that and
Mhm.
create new. And sorry, go ahead, Mira, because you
No,
are
that,
on.
no. And the other thing that I think is really fascinating is learning more about rapid eye technology from you, and then from some of the reading that you shared and that kind of thing, diving a little bit deeper into it. It's astonishing how it's not something where you have to, on a personal level, invest massive amounts of time. Like essentially, it's really helpful to work with somebody and go through a program and break down some barriers, but then learn a daily practice, or a practice that you can call in when you're overwhelmed or something is happening. Can you talk about the path that someone might take if they were interested in learning more about this and incorporating it for themselves?
Yes, absolutely. And you're right. That's such a big piece of rapid eye technology to me, is that we're not fostering dependence. And
Mhm.
again, you don't have to do 30 years of analysis, right?
Yeah.
So typically the path would be to have some sessions with me. I've got a 12 session package where we get into those neural pathways and we empty the storage units. And in the process of that, I'm teaching you tools
Mhm.
that help you put new information into the neural pathways, right? Into those storage units, because a lot will happen in a session, but really how much you succeed will depend on you using these simple tools in between, because you've got to repattern, right? You're repatterning your thought process.
Yeah.
And so we clean the slate, and then you get to do the tools that help you manage, right? They're called energy management tools. And you really get to manage when the stress comes up or the reactions come up.
Mhm.
And in the process of managing those, what you're also doing is training your brain to receive a new thought pattern, to understand things differently, to change your reality. And they're very simple tools. Like you said, you build them into your day. It's not right, because if I give you stuff that's going to take a while, we're going to add to the stress, right? It doesn't make sense. It's counterproductive, right? Oh my
Yeah.
God, I have to do this thing. No, one of the main tools you can do while you're sitting at a red light or sitting in the bathroom.
Yeah. And one of the other things that I think is really wonderful about this, not just rapid eye therapy, but really any sort of practice that you incorporate to help de-stress and support the brain and the body, is that you begin to recognize patterns before you're fully engaged in perhaps those patterns you don't want to be engaged in anymore. And I think achieving that mindfulness and that openness is really important when it comes to people being able to reclaim a sense of peacefulness without constantly living in a day that just gets ratcheted up and up.
Yes, 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 it's very true, very true. And that was one of the keys about the tools that I teach, is to start to use them as soon as you notice you're going into your pattern, right?
Yeah.
If you, and it takes, it takes a minute to start bringing that in, but to notice, okay, I'm getting really stressed about this meeting I'm going into. Even the day before you start having your performance anxiety,
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of tools that you can use, rapid eye and otherwise, right? There's things that after 24 years of doing this, I bring in a lot of other things, right? That you can just say, okay, I'll be fine tomorrow. And you use the tool and you go in feeling poised and calm. So yes, you're absolutely right. There's a lot that we can do to know that we have the power to manage how we feel and to
Yeah.
optimize our experience as a human being. The human condition has become about doing, and this really does help you learn about being a human being.
Mm-hmm. And also, I frequently point out to like clients that I work with, and even people who come to me for other things, any of these integrative, holistic, healthy habits that we learn, we are not only learning them for ourselves, we are learning them to model them for others. So we're actually helping be that pond that creates ripples in the pond around us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so true. It's so true. That's even though I work one-on-one, I've always known that I'm not working one-on-one, because the frequency, your own personal energy, as that frequency raises, your consciousness raises, you go out and it affects everyone you contact, everyone you're around. So you're right. As we do our work, we really are contributing to the overall consciousness raising.
Sure. And so if someone wanted to do something today that it could help support them or get them on that more balanced level, what is one little thing that they could do right now?
Okay, let's do it. Okay. We're going to get this left brain and right brain working together. Okay, we're going to open the synapses, get that corpus callosum open. And it's so simple. You're going to hold your head straight. You know how to do this, Mira. You probably still do it every day, I hope.
I do.
You hold your head straight. And you're going to find a spot on that side of the room and a spot on that. And you're just going to move your eyes left and right. Some people may not need to do a spot. You just track. We're not blinking in between. We're just tracking straight across, left side, right side. And as you do this, you're actually opening up that bridge and getting the synapses firing between the hemispheres, and it will immediately calm you down. Now, some people may have kind of a crunchy bridge, right? So it might be hard. If it's difficult for you, just do a little bit at a time. And over time, you notice it'll get easier and easier. Also, I notice when someone has trouble with it, we do a rapid eye session and then they easily flow. So you'll do this until your eyes get tired. And that means you built up energy. So then you're going to stop and scrunch them 3 times. Squeeze tight, open, tight, open, tight, open. Good. And then you take 3 big breaths in through your nose. Let it go. This is all about reducing the fight or flight. And one more time in through your nose. Good. And that's it. That's one round of it. And typically, depending on how high your stress level is, usually I recommend doing it three times, left and right. And this is the one I said you can do sitting at a red light. You just move your eyes left and right. You sit down in the toilet, move your eyes left and right. If you don't get through the whole sequence, the important piece of it is your left and right.
You're connecting left and right. Yeah. And the funny thing is, I actually caught myself. I know when I do this, because I try to do it a couple times a day without stress. And then if I'm stressed, I try to do it to help calm down afterwards, depending on where I am. But it's so funny because my body starts yawning. It's just, oh, this is like the relax.
Yeah, that's great because that's an energy release. Anytime, and you did it too. People yawn through my sessions all the time, you know. And it means it's working. Yeah. So anybody that tries this, if it's a challenge, you might even want to just stop and do a little bit of blinking, right? Let's say you can't get your eyes over to this side. What side is this for you? It's
That's
whatever side it is. Let's say you can't get your eyes moving over this
left
way.
side.
Look over there and do a little blinking, because it
Yeah.
just means there's some energy caught, and you just blink a little bit and then try again, left and right. 3 squeezes, 3 breaths, and you'll start really noticing. I had a client who was in a difficult divorce, and she was in therapy with her ex-husband, and she got so triggered she had to leave the room. She sat in the waiting room. She did a couple of rounds of it, and she was fine. She was able to go in and finish the therapy session. So that's just one little example, but that's how it works.
Yeah. And I like it in the morning. I like to do it, well, as part of my getting ready for the day, because I feel like it just helps set an intention that we're going to have this calmer, more peaceful day. And then at the end of the day, I do it as a way to try to let go anything that may be stuck there that I wasn't aware of before I go to sleep. I learned that from you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that you use them so much, and that it's made such a difference for you. It's
I
great.
know.
Yeah, it's great to hear.
It's been wonderful. And so I'm really glad. And I'm also grateful that you've come on and shared your wisdom with people. This has been amazing. If someone wanted to connect with you or learn a little bit more about you, where would they find you?
Well, I was going to give you my website, but you don't want that. But I mean, you might, but I'm revamping it. To contact me, you want to email me, and it's
Okay.
just my name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if
Yeah.
you do want to check out my website, and
Okay.
there's actually a cool video on the first page that gives you lots of good information.
That sounds great. Thank you. And Paula, thank you so much for being here and sharing with us. It's always great to talk with
Yeah.
you. This has been
Thank
really.
you.
And for everyone who has been watching, thank you so much for sharing your time with us and learning about this amazing technique that's super simple, really easy to do, and can help you have a less stressed, more balanced day. So I want to remind you, in all things you do, make today a healthy day. Bye, folks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.